Upon opening the application, you'll start on this screen. To process an image, hit the Process button, and then the amount of images you would like to process to bring up the image importing interface. To start, you should verify that the icon in the bottom left corner of the screen is green. If it is red, then that may mean there is an issue, and I suggest closing the app and waiting for a few seconds before you try again. With that verified, you can now move on to uploading your images. On this screen, you may drag and drop all of your files here. You should have 8 different images to upload if you are processing a single image. 2 target images, each under 2 different lighting conditions. 2 white images under the same 2 different lighting conditions. 2 dark field images, and finally the 2 images of the artwork under the previous 2 lighting conditions. Once uploaded, you can verify your images are correct by hovering over the image. Here, you can see the 2 different lighting conditions that the artwork is under. To remove one, you can click the trash can icon next to the image, then upload the correct images after. Once your images are uploaded and correct, you can click the Next button to switch to the Output Destination screen. This screen lets you select where your output destination is, putting the calibrated image and the calibration data within that folder. You may also name the output files by putting a name in this box. Upon clicking Next, the program changes to the screen where you specify your image roles. The Object section is for the piece of artwork that you would like to calibrate. The Target section is for the calibration targets. The Flat Field section is for your white field images, and the Dark Field section is for your dark field images. Please note that these images should be separated into the A or B columns based on the lighting conditions the images are under. Please be sure to separate them appropriately. There is also an Auto Sort Images button that will automatically do this for you, as long as your naming conventions are in line with the auto sorting guidelines. More details on the naming conventions for this feature are on the Beyond RGB website. Once all of your images have a role, you may click Next and go to the Target Patch Selections screen. This screen allows you to tell the program where your specific target is. To begin, click here to add a selection grid to the image. As you can see though, the grid does not fit the given target patch. That is because we need to select a specific reference data that we are using. This patch here specifically is CCSG. Selecting that gives us a grid formatted for this patch. Now, we can resize the grid to fit each square in the target, as well as expand or contract the target selection area size. This simply changes the amount of pixels the program reads. Next, you'll want to select a white patch. There are multiple white patches on this target, but we find it easier to select a white patch that is closer to the center. In this case, we select Row 5, Column 5. As you can see, you can verify that the patch is correct by the corresponding point in the grid lighting up. Once the white patch is selected and the grid is properly lined up with the target, you may click Begin Processing. Once you confirm, the program will begin processing the image by reading, rescaling, flat fielding, then registering the images before applying color calibration, spectral calibration, and finally rendering out the image. This process may vary in duration, depending on how fast your computer is. Once the image is done processing, you can click this button to view the image. It may take a second to load. And there it is. You can zoom in to see that the image is very well calibrated. You can also enable the spectral picker to isolate specific patches of the image to view their estimated spectral values. If I select this blue patch here, you can see that there are more blue values here than this red patch up here. This can also be done with multiple patches at the same time to compare and contrast specific values. You may also specify larger or smaller patch area sizes. If you would like to verify that the image was calibrated well, you can go over to the left sidebar and select the Calibration Reports tab. Here you are greeted with a grid. Each patch here corresponds to a patch on the target image that was uploaded with the other images. The values and colors on this heat map all represent how well the patch was calibrated to the artwork that you were trying to read. Green and lower numbers means that the patch was calibrated well, while red and higher numbers means that the patch was calibrated poorly. There's also a grayscale option in case you are colorblind. As you can see here, this patch was not calibrated very well. Scrolling down, you can see a graph. Each pair of vectors on this graph represents the actual and expected calibrations values for the A star, and B star for each patch. There's a similar graph for L star and C star, and another graph for LREF, for L star ref, and L star cam. All of this calibration data is stored within the file location that you specified at the beginning of the process.